part of the reason why there's been talk about him for some time as being potentially the best wide receiver in the NFL, even with Kupp and Adams, is that he can literally do everything. I think Adams can do everything too, but the length, the speed, just contested catch ability, yards after the catch, the route running, his ability to use leverage, his releases, it's all there. Yeah, he's the total package. And then, to see it on display, to see how good Kevin O'Connell was at getting him open, moving him around, the motion, the stacks, the way he was hiding him, getting all the matchups he wanted. As a defensive coordinator, it's a nightmare. Like watching that, it was interesting to watch from the broadcast angle at first because he's now one of those those players who are on broadcast. You just don't know what the hell's going on because you're like, all of a sudden there's like not a guy around him for 10 yards. And again, when you don't see what's happening in the route he's running, it's just so immensely frustrating. Probably if you're rooting for the other team, but I feel like that's going to be the situation all season long.
Yeah, you nailed it. I was really coming in here ready to break it all down and explain to you why Justin Jefferson was so wide open, and it wasn't because the Packers didn't know he was good or the Packers were bad or stupid or their players or whatever. Like, the play design was ingenious from Kevin O'Connell, and to be able to – like, they were in a cover 4 a lot. And so when you see the highlights, you, see a linebacker trying to tackle him. And you're like, what the hell are they doing? They got a linebacker covering them? Or you see a safety trying to run with him. Like, damn, they're dumb. He just had a big play, and now they got Savage or Amos trying to run with him. But no, when you rewatch the film, you can see the motions and stack. Like, they're in cover 4. They find ways to put him in position to force you to either, corrupt your coverage – or he has to be guarded by a linebacker. Or you just have to stop running. You have to run man all game and just lock Alexander on him or something, which then exposes everyone else who's not comfortable with playing man all game. There are guys who, and you and I talk about this a lot, is like what you need to be good on offense or defense in general is you need one thing that you can rely on, be it a play or a player, and then everything builds off of that. So that's Justin Jefferson. He's so good that you're going to have to contort yourself to stop him. And if you do stop him, everything else is breaking down.
How many times when they were in quarters did Kirk Cousins just target him in the flat and he was able to pick up an additional 5+ yards because of his speed and his ability to modulate his speed? It's a nightmare. There were times, I will say, where the Packers zone did not look sound. I think one of them was the deep over where they were playing.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah,
somebody done messed up. But I want to go back to what you just mentioned, which is the issue of man. Because coming out of this game, I think there was a lot of people had questions. Okay, you have Jair Alexander, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, who can play man and zone equally well.
Right.
Why don't you just man him up? And afterwards, I think it was Matt LaFleur, not Joe Barry. One of them was like, well, then, as you pointed out, we just can't, we're a zone defense, but two, everyone else can't just play man all game long. And I was wondering, going forward, if you're a defense watching this and a defense that has a number 1 cornerback, for example, Los Angeles. I don't know if they're playing, but I think that's a really good or it's a similar defense that plays a ton of zone and has a cornerback in Jalen Ramsey, who we would probably put in that same tier. How would you approach this matchup?
Well, Jalen Ramsey plays everywhere.
Yeah.
So you can lock Jalen Ramsey and still play zone. Because if you motion Justin Jefferson, so Jalen's at the corner spot, assume Justin's outside at the corner also. Jalen's there, and he's playing quarters. If you motion him down, Jalen can go with and then become the nickel. Assuming you're a nickel, then the nickel can become the corner. Or Jalen can motion down and become the safety, and the safety drop down to be the nickel or the linebacker. So it's possible with a player like that. But again, what you're doing there is you're having to adjust 4 players.
Right. What you do.
Based off of one motion.
Your whole identity.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And you can do that once. It might work. If they motion 10 times in the game, I guarantee you 2 or 3 of those times, somebody's going to blow it. And that's the point of having a player like this. There's, and if they blow it and Kirk Cousins hits it, that's 6 points. And that's all you need.